You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That is a quote by James Clear from the book Atomic Habits. And what he's basically saying is that you can want anything. You can want to be rich, you can want to be famous, want women, etc. But the only thing that matters are the systems you have in place. Some of you might binge watch YouTube a lot, and you watch educational content, and you think you're bettering your life. But if things remain stagnant, it means you're not putting that advice to action. So, I'm basically going to show you how to constantly upgrade yourself. I'm going to show you how to use the content, use the notes you got from your content, and actually put it to action. And it takes three simple steps. So, I'm going to just briefly explain the steps, and I'm going to share a story how I personally used it. So, step one is just to write notes. That's it. Sometimes, like, you might put videos and watch later and think you can just watch it again, but you don't have the time. Just simply write down the important parts. I use an app called Cortex, but you can use Notion. I've used physical paper before. You just need to write it down. That is only the first step. The second step is actually implementing that advice to your schedule. So once you have that advice, you actually write down how you can actually do that within your schedule. I'll explain it more in the story. And the third is simply repeating it. It's simply repeating that habit over and over again until you don't even have to think about it anymore. And once that's done, you've upgraded yourself. You evolved. You now become a better person. And now you're further towards your goals. And I wish I knew this process when I dropped out of college and became a freelancer. I wish I knew it immediately because I would work very inconsistently. I would work based on motivation. And sometimes I can work 6 hours in a day, but the next day I might work 30 minutes. It was very inconsistent. That is why you need systems, not just goals. So when I first dropped out of college and became a freelancer, I create digital art. I use this app called Blender, and I would I would have a playlist on YouTube full of Blender tutorials. Now, I didn't watch most of it, but the ones I did watch, I watched over and over again while I was had Blender open and created art projects. And that is a bad thing because you're wasting time watching the same videos over and over again. And I use these videos as a crutch. And so while I was doing this, I was creating this one art piece, and and then within 2 weeks, I just ended up with this. I didn't really make a lot of progress. In 2 weeks, I only made this. So here's how I learned drastically faster. So I read this book called Deep Work, and in chapter six, it's Deep Work by Cal Newport. So in chapter six, he explains that you should embrace boredom, that you should schedule blocks of time where you're in deep work with no distractions, no internet, and you should schedule times when you're distracted, and they should never ever cross contaminate. So I simply took that advice. I uh, I created a block. Like every morning, my phone will be off and away from me, and then within the first 3 hours, I will work on Blender. No YouTube, no Google Chrome, no phone. Just Blender was open on my computer, so I can make art. You'll be surprised with what you can do without YouTube. I've been learning for a while now. At this point, I've been learning for 2 years, and I just constantly use the same videos as a crutch. But once I did it, or once I removed the crutch, I was able to do a lot of things I didn't expect myself to do. I was able to model. I was able to create textures easily. There were points where I thought I needed YouTube, but if you come to that point, I simply just wrote it down on a piece of paper and then waited until after the 3 hours to actually solve that issue. Now, this is the project I made. I made it within 5 days. So I had trouble with the robe, and I thought I needed to watch a video for cloth physics. And then during that time, like I wasn't gonna open YouTube, so I just stuck with what I knew. And I simply modeled the robe, and it came out fine. You just use the tools you have. And if you think you're stuck during a project, don't ever open YouTube or anything else. Just sit there in boredom. And most of the time, you can do other things within a project. So I took notes from this book, Deep Work. I actually implemented it within my own schedule. And then I practiced it for 5 days straight and got the results I wanted. And that's how you upgrade yourself. That's how you stop being stagnant in life. I have another quick story. Basically, I've seen from this fitness YouTuber that when you go to the gym, when you pull, these are positives when you actually lift the weight. And then when you decline, it's called a negative. And he basically explained that the negatives, if you do like 2 to 3 seconds of negatives, you actually like have more gains. So I didn't do much in this process. I just simply wrote it down within my workout routine. And within the first day, like I just did it like it was nothing. Just slowly descend. And now I improve my exercises. You can do this with any part of life. So I hope you're doing the same process on this video. I hope you're writing down the notes, the 3-step process, and actually implement it within, say, any books or podcasts you consume. You actually take notes, you see how you can implement that advice into your own schedule, and then you simply repeat the habit. And that is the key to self-improvement. That's why you have all this knowledge, all this available knowledge on YouTube. This is how you actually put it to action. Most people, their issue isn't finding the knowledge, their issue is actually acting. I've had this issue for so long. I It took me so long to start making money as a freelancer because I didn't put any business advice to action. I would save videos for later, or I would write notes and then let that just collect dust. I'm actually reading this book by Patrick Bet David, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And he basically explained like one of the key indicators of successful people is like the time it takes for them to get advice and actually put it to action. So I really, really hope this video resonated with you. Like, please, like, you're gonna improve yourself in every aspect. Thank you for watching.